The film industry is cracking down on the use of AI, and at last, this may actually be something we can be excited about. Or is it? Let's get into this week in film. So the Golden Globes has set new rules around the use of AI in film. The AI guidelines states the use of artificial intelligence, AI, including generative AI, does not automatically disqualify a work from consideration, provided that human creative direction, artistic judgment, and authorship remain primary throughout the production process. New rules are also in effect for the podcast category, as well as for non-English language and independent motion pictures. Similarly, the Academy, also known as the Oscars, have clarified that only acting and writing for films done by humans will be considered eligible to win an Oscar. The Academy specified that only acting demonstrably performed by humans and that writing must be human authored in order to be nominated for an award. However, outside acting and writing, if a filmmaker used AI tools for their work, it will neither harm nor help their eligibility or consideration to be nominated for an Oscar. Personally, I think this is a great decision made by these prestigious award shows. To me, it feels like if AI was used in their content, whether it be in the writing or in the acting itself, it feels like it'll be cheating. It wouldn't show the full appreciation of the art or what the art can give. I don't think it's too much of a problem if it's used in a bit of editing, but as the Academy described, it should stay far away from acting and writing. You know, people like Tom Cruise do all their stunts and put a lot into the filmmaking, and it would be such a sham if something concocted by AI was awarded and praised more than people like him. And these new AI rules don't just stop at award shows. It turns out that there's a new AI disclosure standard that's been set for films that are launched at the Cannes film market. This standard is called Human Provenance in Film and is essentially a new disclosure system that allows audiences, distributors, award bodies, and buyers to know how much AI is used in film. The standard is based on transparency for audiences and draws on findings from Deloitte and Barringer showing that 77% of consumers want to know whether content was made with AI, and that 70% would prefer a film or show produced by humans to one generated by AI. This is a real key step forward for the film industry and a really good way to ensure transparency and quality. Admittedly, if there is a lot or a high percentage of AI used in a film, that would put me off seeing it. Unless there's an actor I love in it, then maybe I'll give it a chance, but I think more time than not, I would probably avoid high AI use in films. In adjacent news, the DGA, the Directors Guild of America, will be sitting down with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, AMPTP for short, to talk about healthcare. For the DGA, skyrocketing health costs caused the plan to lose $38.8 million in 2024, following a $4.6 million loss in 2023. Now, DGA members will enjoy no individual premiums and $1,000 out-of-pocket maximums for in-network care. This, of course, comes 3 years after the highly profiled strike from writers and actors. The studios are expected to significantly increase their contribution rate as part of the deal. However, the primary issue facing DGA members and all film and TV workers is the scarcity of jobs. The union is expected to offer some proposals to safeguard employment for its members, although some of the union's tools are quite limited in this area. The other major priority is artificial intelligence. The Writers Guild of America and SAG-AFTRA have each sought to protect their members' creative work from being used to train AI models that can replace human workers with only limited success. The AMPTP have essentially agreed to notify the unions and bargain in the future if AI training does become a source of revenue in the future. The studio's top priority in negotiations has been to extend the 3-year contract to promote stability and peace. Christopher Nolan, who is the president of the DGA, is happy to go as long as 5 years. I feel this is a really good step forward for the members, especially those who stood up to protest and strike at the time. This is why it's so important to vocalize your wants and speak up on any injustice, especially as a group, knowing how much more effective that really is. Hopefully, it continues to get better for workers and the primary issue of job scarcity gets resolved. The job market has been very rough, especially in the USA and UK over the past couple of years, so I hope that it all goes up from here. Mark Ruffalo. Now, this is someone we know is very vocal in what he believes in and isn't afraid to speak out on any injustice. especially when it comes to the Paramount-Warner Bros deal. He has come out to sort of expose the fact that there are some actors and industry folk who he expected to sign the open letter opposing the merger between Warner Bros and Paramount, who didn't. He said, "The most revealing thing about that letter wasn't the people who signed, it was the people who didn't, not because they disagreed, because they were afraid. There are many reasons to block this deal, but we now believe the most fundamental one is what we encountered when asking artists to use their voices. Fear. A deep, ugly, and pervasive fear of speaking out. We heard time and time again from artists when asked to sign this letter that they supported it, but were afraid of retribution. Their fear is not unjustified." Mark Ruffalo cited 2 recent examples of blacklisting that occurred in relation to the Paramount-Warner Bros merger. One, with the editorial director of the trade magazine The Ankler, who had his advertising pulled by Paramount after being spotted at an event carrying a bag of block the merger buttons. And second, with Mark Ruffalo himself, who was invited as a guest to speak on the Paramount-Warner Bros merger on CNN, but was then rejected due to the segment being skipped due to CNN's sensitivity about talking about the merger because they are actually owned by Warner Brothers themselves. So they were cautious of what could and couldn't be said while the acquisition was ongoing. I am not surprised by certain reactions of those in the industry who were a bit fearful, or are a bit fearful, of showing support towards the opposition of the merger, and I'm certainly not surprised at the blacklisting and boycotting that Paramount and Warner Bros are enforcing against those who support the blocking of this merger. It's understandable that those who are not as far or as high profile in their careers not wanting to publicly be seen supporting this opposition due to the fact that it could ruin their chances of success for good. And it's such a shame that standing up for something will result in that kind of consequence. I can also imagine that those who are actually even more high profile, that have a good relationship with these studios, may not want to be seen publicly opposing the merger due to the benefits and privileges they currently receive. It's all a little bit sticky, and it's a real shame that Paramount and Warner Bros are punishing people in this way. But as we know, any fight for justice is going to take some type of sacrifice. And so you just have to weigh up if it's worth it enough for you and the benefit of others. Lastly, breaking news from Netflix, they will be debuting their first film in theatres for a period of 7 weeks. This film will be the new Narnia movie, directed by Greta Gerwig, who also did the Barbie film. This is quite a monumental change for Netflix. The co-CEO Ted Sarandos has reportedly said in the past that theatrical releases are quite an outmoded idea for most people, and has said that Netflix makes movies for people to watch on Netflix. Theatre owners have argued that viewership for big event movies like Narnia would actually be bigger on Netflix after a big screen release. Tim Richards, who is the CEO of the European chain of Vue Cinemas, actually said that this could mark an important inflection point, showing that theatrical and streaming are not competing models, but complementary ones. The Narnia movie could help Netflix get into business with more A-list filmmakers who only want to work with studios that will give their movies a full theatrical release. This makes me think of James Cameron, who we know is a massive advocate for theatre screenings and has once reportedly said that he won't work with Netflix because of it. Perhaps this will open up the doorway for him to work with them in the future if they're guaranteed to give his movie a full theatrical release. That's all I have for TWIF this week in film. Do you think that these new AI rules in the film industry are fair? Do you sympathise with the industry folk that don't want to seem publicly oppose this Paramount-Warner Bros merger? And what do you think of Netflix divesting into theatrical releases? Let me know and I'll see you in the comments.